If you're an enlightened leader, you know that you often need input from your team. But, oddly enough, it can be harder than you think to actually get input when you ask for it. Whether you're sending out an electronic message or asking directly in a meeting, sometimes your request is just met by silence. You see, when you ask someone to share thoughts, well, you may have inadvertently created a burden. People are busy and don't want to take the time to speak up. Others might fear that by engaging you, they will accidentally create work for themselves. And, of course, many simply fear that what they wish to share isn't what you wish to hear. Let me offer a few tips that will help you get the input and engagement you desire. First, consider a new approach to meeting management. Typically, as the boss, you direct things and speak a lot. Try flipping that. Let them own the process, including running the agenda. Let them be the first to speak, while you nod and take a few notes. Let them dominate the conversation, with you only jumping in to keep the group focused. Another complementary idea is to use an occasional plant. A plant is a person who you've spoken to before the meeting so that you can charge them with being the first person to speak up and get the conversation rolling. In many meetings today, you'll also see forms of electronic voting tools, whether they are dedicated devices or phone apps. Now, even though voting is not an ideal way to make decisions, in a pinch, it is very fast. Still, another option is to allow them to conduct the occasional peer-only meeting. You aren't even involved. You might be surprised how the conversation unfolds when the boss is not around. Do, however, be sure to have a good lieutenant take notes and make sure the meeting is productive. Now, outside of a meeting context, there are a couple other tactics to consider. The first is using the group's informal leader. That's a respected and well-liked member of the team. Have them informally chat with others about whatever your target issue might be. Very often, they'll open up more simply because they're talking to a peer instead of you. Finally, consider providing a form of anonymous input. Believe it or not, in some organizations, they are still using shoeboxes with a hole cut in the top. In an increasing number of places, you'll see electronically administered surveys, employee engagement apps, and a variety of group collaboration tools, all of which typically offer some form of anonymous input. You're right to want input from the team. Just remember that they often hesitate when you ask. So try the tips we just covered, and you're quite likely to stir up a more vibrant conversation.